now that we understand a little bit about how the triangle is applied, again, that's just a basic view of the application of it. We're gonna start just the basic view of the deconstruction and the defense of it. And again, there's a million ways to defend it, and depending on where you are in the progression, where you are, how, like in your posture, you might do a slightly different move if you have a little bit more room, where you can pop your head out. There's things that you're always gonna be looking for, but these are like the main things that I get into where the person is kind of doing the right main things, and I need to work my way out. So Burr is gonna cooperate. Also keep in mind for this that I've had to compensate a little bit because I have a knee injury. So again, I'm not like where a lot of times I would be bringing both my knees under me for a little bit. I've developed where I like come back so I'm not like stuck on the side. But this is something a lot of people do anyway, where it's a lot easier for me to defend the triangle on this side because my injury is on this side and I'm able to pull back over here. So again, I'll explain why I'm doing this, but one of the reasons that I've been doing this is because I have a knee injury, so I can't kind of like sit down with both of my knees under my hips, but it's perfect for this anyway. So right now, Burr is trying to, obviously, to finish the move, he needs to get over here. He doesn't have to, but all these things will help. Close his hip to the other side, and he gets a nice finish here. Okay? So I can start interfering in a lot of this stuff, but the first thing that I'm gonna do before he gets my arm in too much danger is as soon as I'm up here, I'm gonna shift my weight to my hip that's opposite the arm that's in danger. So I'm gonna slide myself here, right? And I'm gonna still keep a decent base so I can't get stuck over. So right now what I'm doing is I'm making it hard for him to close me in here. I've got a good posture up here, and it's also gonna allow me to rotate this knee around to trap this hip. You'll notice he wants to get his hip over to the side, right there, and my arm across. Okay? So immediately, I'm falling back to this side, and I'm blocking this hip. As long as I can keep this hip underneath me, I can keep myself in pretty good position. Okay? So I'm on my hip, and I'm leaning back away here, so I'm keeping this part of my neck open, and I'm working my leg around so I can pivot and block this hip here. This hand is going to help control his neck up here. If I need to, at some point, I might need to like work into a stacking motion. If he starts to like attack my arm or something, I might need to work into a stacking motion, right? But this is going to help me get myself up and stop his rotation this way. So I'll usually push right up here, lock with my knee, and as I come up, this will come up to grab his shoulder, and I'll fold my knee around either to his chest or his hip, depending. I'm keeping him pinned down, and I'm also locking his hip here, so that this serves in both places. So as my leg comes up here, I'm coming up, I'm folding my leg inside, my elbow and my knee touch, and now I'm working my hips under myself. I'm not just standing straight up, I'm bringing my hip here, and I'm trying to get my hips under me, so I can do like this Hindu push-up motion where I'm squatting forward here, right? Driving my weight down onto his chest or his hip, and I keep my weight under me. My hips as much under my shoulders as possible, and then I consolidate the position. So again, usually in a little bit more time. As soon as I feel myself, starting to get in danger, I slip here, I keep myself back away from him, I slide my knee up, I try not to let him hook this too much, but if he does hook it once I start to stand, it's not as bad. So I slide my knee up, keeping him somewhat hidden. Now I push myself forward, rocking him forward and sagging and keeping my hips as under my shoulders as I can. Turn my knee in, rock forward, get a little bit more vertical base, come down, take some position. Okay. One slight variation is sometimes if I'm having trouble totally finishing the position, right? Like he's working it and he's got his hips out a little bit, right? So he's kind of beating me on my hip. I can't come around here. I stack into him. So I don't let him get the angle. I still bring my foot or my knee up to block his hip, and now I just let it pop slightly behind. I have to watch out for this arm because he's going to attack for the arm bar as I settle back a little bit. This creates usually enough wedge where I can pop my head out and come into it. And those are the the two main defenses I use.